Hey there, today we are going to do a quick little tip just about a few cuts of meat. Nothing super fancy, but just thought I'd share a little information. For those peeps that are not real comfortable in the kitchen, I thought you might not know a lot about a few cuts. So here we go. Let me see if I can flip this. No. Oh, the camera skills continue. Okay, so this is obviously a package of organic boneless chicken thighs that I'm working with. I was going to show you, I've been cutting up several packages for a dish I'm going to fix later, but I thought, oh, let me stop and show you a little bit about this one. So this one, you see that right there? Can you see that? That's a little bit of freezer burn. That is no big deal. All that means is some air got into the package and basically dehydrated that piece of the meat. So all you got to do, it's a lot easier to do if you don't cut the meat off like I did, making tenders out of it. Just cut it off. Ta-da! See how easy that is? I mean, it's not going to hurt anything if you eat it. It won't hurt a dadgum thing. But if it kind of freaks you out or gags you or whatever, don't throw the meat away. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a little dry right there because, like I said, it dried out from getting air in the package. So, no biggie. Now, let's talk about what we're doing or what I've been doing with these. I needed some tenders for a recipe that I'm making. And don't ever buy tenders at the store. You're just paying for somebody else to cut up something that you can cut up in about 60 seconds, seriously. This package has probably got about 4 or 5 thighs in it. All you have to do, I'm gonna move this off to the side. I mean, it's really super simple. Lay it out. I usually do them long ways. And like typically, that's kind of a funky shape one. Let me start with one. There we go, there's a little more normal. I usually go and give it about 2 good slices. Ta-da, I have chicken tenders. Oh wow, that was easy. On this one, since it's a little more oddly shaped, I'd probably come down like that. And then I'd probably just leave that end a little bit fatter because this is going to be cooked down. I'm going to pan sear it. I'm going to make a tomato basil gravy. So, you know, the shape doesn't have to be perfect or whatever. And you'll notice I'm not cutting lots of fat off. I mean, if there's any loose flappy fat like that, I will. Otherwise, I leave it. If you are using good organic pasture-raised meat, there's no need to cut that off because that is nutrition. That's good for you. Whoop, look at that. Got a little bit more freezer burn. So we're just going to take this. My knives aren't super sharp right now. Got to get the hubs in here working on those. We just want to kind of cut that off and boom. Good as gold. Let's get that off of there. And that's it. See? Looks great. Cut that through too. And here's a little tip for you on dark meat. I only use dark meat. Unless we're making chicken wings at home, I only use dark meat. I do not buy chicken breasts. To me, they're dry and nasty and boring. They don't have a lot of flavor. This is a little freezer burn there. The dark meat has more red fibers because the muscle was used more. If you think about it, the dark meat, the legs and the thighs, that's what the chicken's running around on. The breast meat and the wings are muscles that are not used much by the chicken in their daily life because chickens don't fly. I mean, they may flap their wings a lot while they make a lot of noise because they're pretty funny, but they don't fly around a lot. So there's not much muscle use, so there's not much oxygen getting to those muscles, which means there's little to no iron in them. Dark meat has way more iron in it, which is good for you, important for you. So besides the flavor, the tenderness, the juiciness, dark meat's healthier. So I'll just leave you with that. But if you just, are a white meat kind of person, then by all means use your white meat and you can just cut those breasts up the same way. And that's all there is to it. I'm going to clean this up and switch to a couple other cuts of meat. Hang on a second. Okay, let's talk about some round steak. I don't know if y'all have used round steak in the past, but this is some local, fresh, pastured round steak. Got one of my farmers. It's awesome. I use it a lot at the restaurant. I like to cook it. It's just really good. If you cook it right, it can be amazing. If you don't, it can be tough, and I've had my share of tough. So this is another one of those. If there's a large chunk of fat, I may trim that off, but otherwise, I don't worry about it. You want a little bit of fat. It adds flavor and juice, and it's just good stuff. So I usually just go through here and cut it, in about what would roughly be a 4-ounce serving piece. It's not going to be perfect. You're not going to get them all even because that's impossible. But that's how I cut it. This can be used, it makes phenomenal chicken fried steak, which you just batter and pan fry, and then you can serve with or without a gravy. I do a lot of smothered steak at the restaurant with all kinds of different gravies. I'll do a Cabo Verde gravy, a brown gravy, onion smothered gravy, tomato gravy, Italian gravy, just all different kinds, just to mix it up a little bit. But it can also be used for steak Diane, which is more cooked in kind of an au jus with some onions and garlic, or green onions and garlic. You can do all kinds of things with it. It's a less expensive cut of meat, so it's pretty versatile. We'll be doing probably just some recipes on those in the future. And then the last cut I want to show you, let me get this open, is a flank steak. Now this, flank and skirt, quite frankly, I don't know, quite frankly, corny dad joke, I don't know what the difference is. Some people call it flank, some people call it skirt. Maybe two different pieces. It's from the underside of the cow's belly. But anyway, regardless. You see how the muscle fibers are running this way, and they're real pronounced, they're real thick. This is the underbelly of the cow. If this isn't cooked right, it's like eating a shoe. But if it is cooked right, it's phenomenal. You can marinate it, all kinds of different marinades, whatever, blows your skirt up. Find all kinds of different mixes not mixes, make it yourself, but all kinds of recipes online. And then grill it to a medium rare, and ooh, it's nice. If you're going to use it for like fajitas or orange beef or some kind of stir fry, the best way to cut it is against the grain. So if you see a recipe that says cut against the grain, what that means is the grain is running this way, you want to cut it this way. So what you're doing is you're cutting into those muscle fibers and making smaller pieces out of them so that they're more tender and easier to chew, as opposed to cutting this way and having these long, chewy, nasty fibers. So like if I was making orange beef, which I'm prepping for something else, I would do about like this and then cut them in little 1-inch pieces. And see, then that's going to be little tiny fibers, and it's going to turn out nice and tender and good. I'm doing this for, having these little pieces isn't going to hurt, but I'm going to do this for a fajita kind of stir fry. So I'm going to cut these a little bit thicker. But again, I'm going against the grain that's running that way, and then come in here and cut them like this. Ooh, my knife's not sharp. Some bad knife skills when you got a knife that's not sharp. And I know y'all probably noticed in various videos I wear gloves sometimes. That's just really, a habit. I started doing it when my 2 older kids were young, and I was a single mom for a lot of years, and I never failed. I'd be up to my elbows in something in the kitchen, usually a pile of raw meat, and one of them would get hurt or fall down or need something, and then I'm having to hurry and wash my hands and get meat out from under my fingernails and all that. So I finally just thought, okay, I'm gonna wear gloves. Something happens, rip that puppy off and go. And it's just kind of stuck. Because I can wear one on my hand that's handling the meat. Of course, I don't have one on my gloved hand or my knife hand. And then when I'm done, I just pull it off and I can rock and roll. So anyway, that is a little quick tip on cutting flank steak. It's really good, and it's a pretty inexpensive cut of meat, even if you get a good grass-fed. And you can do a lot of awesome things with it. And we'll probably cover some of those in some future videos. So I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you soon.